Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a nice lunch and a good session afterwards. Looking at the audience, if I may request, maybe you guys can come forward a bit. It would be easier for my throat as well, and you guys can do it together. No worries, cool. Let's get started. Alright, welcome to this session on Mitre powered threat hunting using LogRhythm NDR. So how some customers, how organizations, they use LogRhythm NDR to do threat hunting. Before I start, a little bit about myself. I'm Mitre, part of the sales engineering of LogRhythm. I've been with LogRhythm for about a year and a half, but we've been working in the cyber defense space for about 10 years now. So moving from security monitoring, SOC advisory, threat hunting, and then later on incident response, and then now on the sales engineering side. So this has been my bread and butter for about more than 10 years now. And that's something what we're going to look at today. Share some of my experiences as well. How to solve operations.
Buy some stuff from the research.
Having said that,
Okay.
the very first thing. How many people in this room have heard about this concept called SOC visibility trial and are actively using in their organizations for security monitoring strategy? Just raise your hand. Good, very few hands only. I mean, this is something which is not, LogRhythm published or any other vendor. This is something which was published by Gartner. And this basically aims to provide you complete visibility into the security posture of your organization. So what do you exactly need in order to have complete visibility what is happening within your organization, from an endpoint perspective, from a network perspective, or from a matter, it can be, let's say, from different environments like OT, IoT, where it's not possible to get the logs. So how do you get complete visibility around that? And that's something where they pushed out this framework called SOC Visibility Tribe, which basically comprises of 3 pillars within itself. One is what we call as a C, which basically provides you visibility using the logs, the event logs which have been generated by a variety of log sources in your organization. The second pillar is NDR, which stands for Network Detection and Response. And it provides you visibility into your network infrastructure, how certain users, how your hosts are communicating, and are there any signs of potential compromise within your organization. And that's something what we will deep dive into as well a little bit later. But yeah, that's in a nutshell what NDR provides. And lastly, the third pillar of this SOC visibility trial is EDR, which stands for Endpoint Detection and Response, which aims to provide you insights how your endpoints, like various Windows systems, Linux systems, what sort of processes are running on them. Are there any malware executables which resembles the previous malwares? So in a nutshell, these 3 pillars of SOC visibility trial, they tend to provide you complete visibility. Are there any sort of potential compromise within your organization? That's something what it aims at. Moving on with that, since the session is focused around LogRhythm NDR, it tends to provide you 360-degree visibility within your organization, that at a very rapid pace. And why do I say that? I mean, over the past 20 years, security monitoring has evolved quite a lot. Earlier, back in the 2000s, it was more about the prevention technologies, where firewall, IDS, those type of technologies, they evolved. From there on, we moved on to the next stage, which was more kind of detection only. We got a lot of IDS, IPS solutions. Then from there, we got a lot of machine learning using the C. And then lastly, now we are at this stage where it's not only enough to detect, but to prepare yourself, how quickly can you recover from those type of incidents as well. So that's the phase which we are in right now in 2022. With LogRhythm NDR, back in the days when the people used to have same solutions for detection technologies, it used to take a lot of time before they can get a return on investment, before they can get complete visibility. Reason being, it requires a lot of time and effort, both from the organization and from the implementation party as well. Because you need to onboard all the logs, you need to make sure all the communication is right, and then you need to have the right sort of analytics on top of that. But with NDR, what has become is, it utilizes the machine learning in the background to identify what we call as the behavior analysis of different hosts and users within the organization. So in essence, you just need to deploy a sensor in your network environment, it starts capturing the data remotely, and then it provides you analytics using the machine learning and AI. So with that, the speed of the ROI, it's pretty much faster, it takes much more less time to implement that and then to give visibility into your network infrastructure. The other thing which I want to touch upon was, something which LogRhythm tends to do pretty uniquely. That's something what we call as combined threat detection. I mean, with SIEM technologies or IDS technologies, it was mostly focused around what type of analytic rules do you have, what sort of different, let's say, malware campaigns, or for that matter, different sort of new techniques and procedures which are being used by the threat actors. How much analytics do you have for those? But with LogRhythm, what they tend to do is they tend to combine these two different analytic capabilities. So one is which is based on the what we call as deterministic rules. That means you have specific set of rules, more than 3,000 rules, which are defined in LogRhythm C and in the LogRhythm MBR. Together with that, it also takes into consideration the behavior-based rules, which are defined using the AI and ML. That means it not only look at the deterministic rules, which have been existing for the past 10, 15 years, and at the same time, it tends to correlate with the data which is being generated by the AI as well. So it combines both of them, and that's what we call as a combined threat detection. It will not alert you on each and everything which is generated by those deterministic rules. So in essence, what the organizations get is a very less number of incidents. And the incidents they get, they are of high fidelity. In essence, the analyst who is working with the platform, he will be focused on what matters the most at that moment of time from your security perspective of the organization. Here you can see what type of different technologies to be used in the background. So we take into consideration for network traffic analysis, the Go and Z platform, which probably you are aware of. Then like I said, we have got IDS technologies as well. And together with that, we also take into consideration threat intel. So what are the new threat actors which are active? What sort of infrastructure are they using? What sort of domains are they using? All that information. And lastly, we have got the ML and AI, which is based on this part. So we have got that as well, and that's something which is delivered on-prem. That's the most important thing. A lot of other vendors which probably you might have heard of, they tend to say, no, we need to integrate with the cloud to get that. While with LogRhythm India, this all data analytic models, they are delivered on-prem. So we have something what we say is we bring the data models to the customer, not take their data to the cloud to analyze that data. So all the analytics is done on the customer side itself. Moving on next. Right. Now comes the next thing. I know this session is focused around threat hunting. How many in this room, how many in your organizations, are you actively doing threat hunting? Do you have analysts who are proactively searching for malicious activities within your organization? Yeah, two of them. And what do you use basically to approach your threat hunting? Do you use some sort of framework? How do you approach threat hunting?
We are participating to FSI that.
All right.
And we have a fit implemented in our CM.
All right. But in that case, isn't it something similar to what we do using threat intel?
Well, that's actually a kind of threat intelligence.
All right. So that's something what we call as threat intelligence based threat hunting.
Yeah.
So you get malicious IP domains, URLs, and based on that you tend to approach them.
Indicators of compromise by some other institutions. Yeah.
Indeed. So that's one way of looking at threat hunting. There are multiple ways in which threat hunting has evolved over the past 7-8 years. This was a concept which probably developed towards the late 2015, 2016, and from there it has developed a lot. Earlier it was more focused around IOCs. So how many let's say potential compromises or potential communication based on those ICs do you have? That's what we call as the layer 1 of threat hunting as well. So kind of level 1. It has evolved from there. Lately, a new framework called Mitre attack framework, which was also introduced, and a lot of organizations these days, they use it as a basis for their threat hunting. So In LogRhythm India, what we have done is, we have made this Mitre attack framework inbuilt into the platform, which the analyst can use to search across, okay, how many different indicators do we have for separate techniques on that framework. I'll show you that in a minute as well. Alright. So what you see on the screen is the web interface to our LogRhythm NDR platform. On this, you would see, there are multiple tabs, but I think the most important thing, the most important thing for this particular session is more about hunting. So for that, what we have got is a separate tab called Hunt. Now, on the previous slide, like I said, threat hunting basically refers to proactively searching for potential compromise indicators within your network or your infrastructure. So for that, we need to have some sort of searching capability. So when I open this particular Hunt tab, it gives me the possibility that I can see, okay, in the last 1 hour, what type of communication is happening within my organization. So I can see there are DNS traffic going on, there are assembly files which are being accessed, there are HTTP traffic going on. I mean, if I look at it from this perspective, it's a huge amount of information that an analyst has to understand before they will be able to identify what we call as something called malicious. Or let's say something which requires investigation. So for that, LogRhythm provides various different ways they can search across that. So the very first is what we call as the Mitre attack enterprise. So when I click on this one, as you can see, there are some numbers which are highlighted across those different techniques which are being labeled on this Mitre attack framework. So these are techniques which are used by malware actors. Now what these numbers represents, these number represents how many indicators which resemble these particular techniques or tools which are being used by those malware actors within the infrastructure that we are monitoring. So for example, if I see here for data obfuscation, we have got about 2300 potential indicators for that. And let's say if I want to deep dive into that, I want to know what exactly is happening behind that. I can just click on it, and what it will do, it will add a filter over here. Now, you don't see anything what we were seeing earlier. Reason being because in the past 1 hour, there are no potential indicators for that. If I extend the search to past 30 days, I will be able to see what type of different indicators have been observed around those. So you can see there are some unusual number of DNS queries which have been happening, which is the host, which is doing that. So in essence, that's just one way of looking at threat hunting, where you utilize the techniques and tools on the Mitre attack framework itself to search for what exactly is happening. What are the potential, let's say, incidents, or let's call them indicators of attack which you should be focusing on. The other one is we have got the capability where you can use what we call as the special investigations. Let's say if I'm suddenly I got to know from the internet, from the market, there's a new type of malware which has become active, or maybe there's a new threat actor which is let's say active in my industry type. Maybe in the banking sector, they are utilizing some sort of DNS-based malwares. I want to look across that. So I can very easily search across, okay, show me all the DNS traffic which is traversing my network at the moment. Are there any indicators of attack in that? So very quickly I can filter down on those different types of traffic as well. Apart from this, there's a third, and which is I like the most as well, what we call as the saved queries. So based on a hypothesis, I learned about a new malware. Okay, what type of different communication, what type of different techniques does it use? Based on that, I can create these queries as well. So as you can see, there are multiple which are provided out of the box with the platform, like traffic to from Russia, China, Iran. You can change it depending on your own geolocation as well, which one you want to monitor. And similarly, you have got multiple like that. For example, like north-south traffic, your carbon black. Yeah, interesting one like hunting or PowerShell activities. I think this is something which a lot of threat actors, they are known to use during the lateral movement within the organization. So let's say when I search for it, let me expand that search as well. So when I do that, I can see, okay, these are the activities which are being done using the PowerShell within my environment at this moment of time. When I look at it, I see probably there's an IP address, which seems to be a public IP address. It's triggering this particular rule around hunting for PowerShell, and it's trying to, let's say, download some of the stages which are known, let's say, as part of the malware activity. As an analyst, when I look at it, what I would be interested in, okay, let's see what exactly is happening, where does the information come from, what type of activity is happening. When I do that, when I expand this one, I can see that's the payload which was there in those packets. On the right hand side, I can see what it is trying to do, what's the URL that is trying to access. So someone is trying to download from some internet resource some of the, let's say, stager files, some executables using these particular PowerShells. Moreover, when I come down, I see the source of this particular traffic, it's coming from internet. I want to know about this IP address, I can click on this icon, the showdown. So it gives me information from showdown, it retrieves from let's call it the details about the IP address, to whom does it belong, has it been found in any of the vulnerability database? So yes, it has been found. It has been known to be malicious back in the days. All right. When I look at that, I would be, as an analyst, much more inclined, I want to investigate this more. So what I can do is, I can just click here, say create case. I want to investigate this further. Let me open this case for you. So when I open this one, it has already created this case for myself. It has pulled down all the information from that particular event, created this case, and now you can see, okay, what exactly is happening. So this was the source, this was the destination. I can see on a timeline. I just used one of the events which was there from that particular IP address. But what it did was, in the background, when it was creating this case, it gathered other events as well, which were related to this particular activity. So now we can see what different events also triggered from that particular IP address for which we created this case. Now I can see on a timeline what happened at what moment of time. I do that. So now when you look at this one, this is something which started back on June 2nd. And today we are here on June 6th, and we can see all the activities that has been happening for this particular activity for which I created a case. So what I wanted to demonstrate with that was, the analysts who are working with this platform, they don't need to do all these things manually themselves. The platform enables them to do this automatically, and Mitre saves a lot of time for them. Now when I look at it, I see, okay, there was some pages which were downloaded back on 2nd of June. Now they are doing some, for example, like say, unusual DNS domain they are trying to access. So probably they are trying to get much more executables from somewhere. I would say, okay, I would like to investigate this more. So for that, what LogRhythm tends to do is, let me just refresh it for a second. Loading. Alright. Up till now, what we were seeing was just the highlights. What are the important activities which were observed from that particular IP address. Now I can say, show me all the events. So when I do that, you can see, earlier we were only able to see, let's say, the DNS anomaly events. Let's say it was trying to call some external domain which was unknown, but now here we see, all different types of events as well. From an investigation perspective, as an analyst, I've been doing this for 10 years. I can do this investigation for next 24 hours. But let's say, just for this particular session, we can come to a conclusion that this particular activity which we spotted was indeed a malicious activity. And as an analyst, it was my task to remediate this, to respond to this particular incident as well. So for that, what we can do is, LogRhythm provides what we call the smart responses. So let's say we have got this firewall smart response as well. We have got some integrations with EDR solutions as well. So let's say I want to use this firewall smart response. So what I can do is, for example, I want to add this IP address on my particular firewall. So like that, I can define, add it to a particular group on the firewall where it will block the traffic. where it will block the communication to that IP address. In that sense, this communication will be blocked, and this particular piece of malware which was trying to get the next stages from their external IP addresses, it won't be able to do that. This particular communication will be blocked with the firewall as well. And that's how a security analyst, he would approach threat hunting using LogRhythm NTR. And with that, I would like to open the floor for questions. I assume the silence as a no.
Do you store the web pages entirely?
Sorry, which one?
And store you show it the event.
Yes.
Screenshot.
Yep. Yep.
Basically, you also store the web pages.
That was not basically the web page, basically that was the package which we have captured. So that was the payload, and on the right hand side where I showed you the URL, that was a decoding package. So rather than the web page itself, it was just the URL over there. But that's something we are evolving our NDR. Maybe later in the days when we'll have the sandbox to the NDR, that time we can have the web pages as well. But at this moment it's the URLs. Any other questions? If there are no questions, then yeah, thank you very much for joining us for this session. I hope you like it. Probably you've gained some information out of this. In case you need more information, me and my colleagues will be downstairs. Next, we have a booth on the LogRhythm. Please feel free to come to our booth and have a chat with us.
Para